Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome to Alicia and the City. It's very lovely to see you here. And this week, it's going to be 6 years since I moved to New York City. I know time flies by. I personally cannot believe it's been 6 years. On one hand, I feel like it's been forever. On another hand, I feel like I moved very recently. I don't know how it's possible, but that's the case. And I decided, okay, how can I share my excitement about living in New York City, but also uh, talk about things I don't like. So since it's my 6 years anniversary, I decided that I'm gonna tell you six things I love about New York City, and also things I hate about New York City. So I think we will do one good thing and one bad thing to sort of keep things in balance. And if you're interested, without further ado, let's dive in. So I actually made my notes here, so I'm gonna be referring to them. All right. So the first things I love is definitely how multicultural New York City is. I don't think I ever been anywhere in the world, and I traveled quite a lot. I think, especially around Europe, and I have never seen this amount of diversity and different cultures. I think it's makes New York City very special and unique because you can be on one block, and on one block you can find a Chinese restaurant, Malaysian cuisine, you can have Pakistani cuisine, Nigerian cuisine, and it's not just about restaurants. We have multiple districts, multiple little areas where a certain group of people lives, and I just think it's very, very beautiful. You can hear all languages from all around the world. You can try any kind of food you want, and you can sort of, experience different cultures without even living New York City, which I think it's amazing. I truly do love. So I live in Queens, and I actually find out. I mean, I kind of already knew that, but Queens is actually the most multicultural borough of New York City, and we have a great, great amount of areas. We have like a Greek area, we have Asian area, we have specifically Chinese, Vietnamese, Malaysian areas within that area, and we also have a Slavic community, Irish community. I mean, everyone, and it's really fascinating. I love that about New York City. Things I hate about New York City will be how dirty it is. So when I moved 6 years ago, I I wouldn't say it was like 100% clean, but it definitely was much cleaner than it is now. And especially during COVID, I feel like, it's just turned into trash can. I'm sorry if I'm sounding negative, but that's the reality. Streets are not cleaning. People don't clean streets anymore. I'm assuming that's because the city has a big budget cuts. But overall, I think in the past few years, it's just been a little bit nasty because you can smell garbage everywhere you go, people urinating in the streets, and I think it's a problem of a big city, but I just wish it was a little bit more controlled, and you know, I want to live in a cleaner city for sure. All right, moving on to thing number two. So the thing I love is that New York City has everything. So as I mentioned, it's a very multicultural destination. But besides that, I think anything you can possibly think of, any kind of entertainment, activity, it's all here. We have Broadway, we have movie theaters, we have um, I don't know, throwing acts, um, like I don't know, anything really. And it's a great part that um, you don't have to travel anywhere to experience things. It's all within the reach of a city, or at least somewhere maybe upstate. And it's quite interesting because I think what makes New York great is that it's suitable for any kind of lifestyle. A lot of people think of New York City as concrete jungle, sort of, just a business Manhattan life, which is amazing and great, but some people not really cut for the big city life. And what is amazing about New York City is that you have different boroughs with completely different cultures. Even within those boroughs, each district has its own sort of community and culture, which is very unique, and I don't think I ever seen it anywhere else. But another fascinating thing for me is that we have forests, we have waterfalls, and you drive 40 minutes outside of Manhattan, and you have a beach and farms and all kinds of different experiences again. And I think that's what makes it great. People who like hiking and being outdoors would feel great in New York City. People who don't like to cook and they are very busy in the office. I mean, we're not taking 2020 into consideration, but overall, I think that it can host person with any kind of lifestyle, and I think it makes it very unique. Um, Things I hate would be that it's very, very loud. Where I live, I don't think it's that loud, but sometimes I will wake up at night because ambulance will be passing by or fire truck. But when I'm in Manhattan, it's insane. I don't know how people live on busy streets. I used to have an office on 6th Avenue, and it's just was constant honking, constant fire trucks, ambulance, and I think, obviously I get used to it, but I would be on a call with someone and they'd be like, "What's going on there? Are you okay?" I'd be like, "Yeah, why are you asking me that?" That's because I'm so used to it, so it's kind of becoming a white noise. But in the end of the day, it does impact your well being because you get very irritable and it's like a constant stress with a constant noise. So I guess just if you're thinking of moving to New York City, be cautious of that. Pick an area which is a little bit far from the traffic, because New York City traffic is insane. All right, number three. So the thing I love is obviously New York City skyline. I think it's very, very beautiful. It's gorgeous. It keeps me inspired, and just New York City views in general. I think it's a very New York thing to have very tall buildings with gorgeous rooftop bars where you can see the city from above. And I find it fascinating. Even after all those years, I still feel like a little girl in a fairy tale whenever I see those beautiful views of New York City, of buildings and people walking down the streets. And when you enter Manhattan, you see that beautiful, beautiful skyline. And I don't think it would ever get old, even though Manhattan skyline sort of changes throughout the years. Some buildings get demolished, some buildings get added to it, but it's a truly beautiful scene, and I think that's like the most New York thing. Okay, the thing I hate. So public transportation is not very reliable, especially it's concerns subway. So New York subway called MTA, they constantly have delays. There's constantly some kind of signal problem. I've been late to work multiple times because of that, and it got to the point when nobody even cares anymore, because like everybody understands that um, it's not you to blame, but it's still very, very annoying. um, I know that it's probably gonna go away because now everyone is working from home, but still, when you have to commute, you wanna make sure that you're gonna get to your destination on time, and sometimes it's not very reliable. The same goes with buses, but I think bus break down way less often than subway. So again, keep that in mind. All right, thing number four um, is amount of parks. I mentioned that New York City has everything, and including parks. A lot of people, when they think of New York City, they only think about Central Park, which is a beautiful, really wonderful place to be, because if you think about it, it's oasis of greenery right in the middle of a hustle and bustle, which makes it very unique. It's very beautiful. I love Central Park, but there are so many more parks in Brooklyn and Queens, and I think even in Manhattan there is beautiful parks. Obviously, I think the most known are Brooklyn Bridge Park, Domino Park in Brooklyn, Prospect Park, which is also in Brooklyn. In Queens, we have a gorgeous, gorgeous Forest Park, which is literally the size of a forest, and it's really beautiful. It's like you're outside of the city. It doesn't really feel like you're in New York. And I think for me, who loves nature, I think it's a great plus, because I've been to a lot of cities, and even though they do have a park or two, but they're very small and they're more like a square rather than a park. But New York City has really gorgeous parks. And then if you drive a little bit outside of New York, especially like upstate or Long Island, those areas are covered with beautiful, beautiful nature, and you will be truly fascinated, because it doesn't really feel like New York at all. Okay, thing I hate is that New York City is very, very expensive. Um, I mean, yeah, it is one of the most expensive cities in the world, so it's kind of figures that it's going to be expensive, but sometimes it gets very outrageous, and I'm like, why do I live here again? Especially when it comes to rent. I think apartments are just outrageously priced, and it's just crazy. The same goes for food, especially certain types of food. If it's not produced locally, then it's just gonna cost you a lot. Um, Expensive alcohol, expensive everything really. And yeah, I know it's a problem of living in a big city in general, but I think that New York City has to cut down its prices, at least on certain things, because sometimes it just doesn't make any sense why it would be so pricey. All right. Thing number 5 is uh, that New York City is trying to be sustainable. And yes, it still has a long way to go, but I think over the years it made some changes. I certainly enjoy recyclable, and that you have to separate your recyclables, cartons with cartons, plastics with plastics. We also have a biodegradable garbage, so that's great as well. And overall, with all the changes about plastic bags, I think those little steps, they make a difference, and I think that's great that we have them. Okay, the thing I hate is that it's very, very hard to make friends. So, New York City is a place where it's very easy to meet people. Again, not taking into consideration year 2020, but overall, I would say it's extremely easy to meet people. There is multiple events every day, and it's just, you go and you constantly meet new people. But throughout the years, I learned that it's kind of hard to connect with people on a deeper level, because yes, you meet people, but then you have completely different schedules. You live your busy lifestyles, and it's kind of just ends there. Even if you like the person, it's kind of hard to stay friends with them. And unfortunately, I lost in touch with multiple people who initially, um, they might have potentially been my very good friends, but unfortunately, the city decided otherwise, or a lifestyle, to be more precise. But it is hard to make friends in New York City for sure. And I thought it was just me being an immigrant, but I find out that it's not the case. Everyone struggles. That it doesn't matter if you were born here or you moved here. It's just a struggle of overall, as I mentioned, big city. So yeah, I don't want to blame New York City for that, but just want to throw it out there in case you're wondering. All right. So the last thing I love about New York City is that its energy doesn't compare to anywhere else, and I heard it when I just moved to New York City is that New York City is like sort of a state of mind. It's a very, very unique energy. And I was like, what is he talking about? That sounds weird, but it's true. Um, I don't think I ever experienced New York City energy anywhere else. I don't know how to explain it. It's just when you walk down the streets, you feel like everything is possible. And I truly do believe, maybe I got converted throughout the years I've been living here, but Frank Sinatra has a song, and New York, and there is a famous line which is, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, and I can relate to it so much. I think, yes, it's definitely hard to make it anywhere, especially in a big city, but I think that energy of constant competition and just striving for better, striving for excellence, it's a very New York thing. And a lot of people think of New Yorkers as they have attitude and they like very mean. I don't agree with that. I think it's more of a tough attitude towards life because nobody got it easy here. I mean, in general. So people are tend to be more overprotective of what they have and what they achieved, and people treat each other with that amount of, um, you know, um, I forgot the word for it, but basically, they are demanding the same amount of respect and hard work as they had to go through. So I guess it explains it a lot. Um, and yeah, I think New York City has a very, very unique energy, and I think it makes it very, very special. And the last thing I hate is that because there is so much going on, you have constantly FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. You constantly feel like didn't have enough hours in a day. You feel like there is 3,000 events happening on one week, and you wanna do them all, visit them all, but you cannot. And I would be honest with you, especially because of my work, I used to feel that, oh my god, I'm not doing anything, and then somebody will have to sort of pull me out of there. But like, what do you mean you're not doing anything? You have 4 events scheduled for one week. Like every night you have to go somewhere after work. How is it possible? Like you don't have 30 hours a day. You only have 24. So I think it impacts lifestyle a lot, and you kind of want to try it all. There is like this new dance class you want to try, but on top of that there is this work thing you want to really attend, and also you probably want to cut out time to see your friends sometime during the week. So it can be challenging. Of course now it changed because it's all virtual, but still I feel like because New York City offers so much opportunities, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. So you have to be very conscious about that and set your priorities straight, I think. So those were my 6 things I love and 6 things I hate. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Please let me know in comments down below if you agree with above or not. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I try to post at least twice a week, and also give me a big thumbs up so I would know that you guys are interested in my content, and it motivates me to create more amazing content for you. And I will see you in my next videos. Bye bye.